Glenn Rushton, 2020, big year for you. What's on the cards? A lot of talk around this and that. Where are we at with Tim Tszyu?
I think we're very close. I've actually got the contract today to review, the draft contract. So from DNL, our co-promoter. So I've got to go over that now and make sure we get it right from our side first. So when we're all on the same page, our team, we'll get that across to Tim Tszyu's team, and hopefully we can then nut out, any points that we're not 100% on the same page with. And I think we're not that far away now. I think we're certainly agreed on some of the key points, but there's, as I always say, it's not done till it's done. So the deal isn't done until it's signed, and it's not quite there. But I think we're well advanced, and I think the parties are both working toward a solution, in the right sort of frame of mind. So the attitude's good. There's no sort of nastiness here between the camps. We're just working in a very business-like, professional manner to try and nut out a deal that's palatable to both sides. So I think we're getting quite close now.
Yeah, they're a good team. Obviously, Matty Rose and Glenn Jennings and the guys. And they're a good team to work with.
Good bunch of guys. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! It's a fight that's getting a lot of airplay around Australia the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Does Tim Tszyu, based off the last 3 fights that he's had and the last 3 fights Jeff's had, does he sort of warrant a fight like this with the likes of Jeff Horn?
Well, again, Tim Tszyu he's a very tough guy. He's a smart guy. Like his dad, he's got that killer right hand. He's got great power, and his hooks are good. His uppercuts, he's not just a one-trick pony. He's got a lot of skills there, and he's been doing great things. Whilst people say, "Oh yeah, Jack Brubaker," Jack's a tough guy, and he fought out a wall with Camille Balla, who was a very good boxer, Camille Balla, and I was there for that fight. But that was a very close fight. So he's no fool, but the style did work very well for Tim, because Jack comes forward, and a good counter puncher like Tim Tszyu with a really powerful right hand. Jack was certainly made to measure for Tim Tszyu, have no doubt about that. So stylistically, it was a good matchup for Tim.
Do you think their camp sort of used that as a good tune-up for a potential Jeff Horn fight?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the ideal tune-up for a Jeff Horn fight, because Jeff's very different. They did fight, of course, Joel Camilleri, and fought Dwight Ritchie, but again, neither of those two hit anywhere near as hard as Jeff Horn. You've got to remember that Jeff is an enigma, and he's a very powerful enigma. So that's something that will cause problems for anyone. We saw the problems it caused for Manny Pacquiao, and certainly it's going to cause problems for Tim. Tim's a hungry young lion, very determined, working very hard, and he's in a good team. So it's going to be a great fight. I don't have any doubt about this. This is going to be a great fight.
A lot of feedback around destinations and whatnot. Can we talk about are we any closer to obviously where it potentially could be? I know you and the guys would like it to be here in Brisbane, but it could be in another city, couldn't it?
It could be. I've been also working closely with Perth, and I've had a couple of good conversations with the Minister for Sport over there, McMurray, and he's very supportive, working with their events division team over there, and we've filed a complete submission over there. We've got some good corporate sponsors that are interested in coming on board in WA, so it would be neutral territory, so it makes sense. To bring over these eastern visitors. That would be good for Perth, good for tourism in that state, and it's a neutral ground. So I've got some interest certainly in Perth. Naturally, we like Brisbane. We're looking at Townsville, Bendigo, Canberra, and even so they've looked at Sydney. It'll come down to a commercial decision in the end. And of course, we've got to get one that's...
Which is not so much better just for you, but it's better for both the camps, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, it is. It is prize fighting, and if the prize is bigger, it gives both boxers a lot more incentive, and they work very hard in a tough sport, and they should be paid well for their efforts.
Isn't it great domestically that I've had a phone call obviously today with some people in America? Isn't it great that we're talking about 2 Australian boys fighting on a mass? It's great for Australian boxing, isn't it?
It's phenomenal, and the chances with this card is we're looking to bring this back into the US. It's a great card, quite possibly a couple of world titles on this card as well. So we're looking at this is going to be a big event we're talking about here. But being this back, over to the US. And again, I think everyone in the US pretty much knows who Jeff Horn is now anyway. And I think this will be, this is an international event, you know, and I like it. And I think, as you say, both of them world ranked. It's a great fight.
Last year was a very grueling year, 2019 for you, obviously, with your lovely wife and that, and to sort of break it on down, because, you know, I learned a lot about you personally last year that I've taken out as, you know, my respect for you. Did you take a lot out of it last year?
Yeah, I always try to reflect on the year, and I do that at the end of the year. And even though we didn't get a big break this year, you know, I did try to spend a little bit of quiet time and reflect on it, and obviously not to dwell on it, not to, as I've often said, you know, if we're meant to look backwards, the eyes would be in the back of the head. So I try to keep just learning from the year and what did we gain from it, what do we need to do better, and you're continually reflecting and trying to improve and so forth. So yeah, 2020, we look forward with great anticipation to the year. I'm excited on a global scale as to where boxing is going, the UFC even getting involved, which just goes to show, you know, what a great sport boxing is in Australia, the emergence of so much talent now. So there's this massive resurgence and interest in boxing now. We're seeing a lot more media coverage in boxing here, a lot more fighters turning professional, and yeah, they've got dreams. So it's good to see. So yeah, it's a spectacular sport.
But I always get back to you and Jeff were a big part of that 2 years ago, of re-establishing that on a worldwide scale, beating a legend in Manny Pacquiao.
I think so. You know, what it did is it just suddenly made, I think, the media, boxers, everybody's gone, you know what, we can mix it with the best in the world. We can. If we just work hard, if we believe and we back ourselves, we can do it. You know, and I think it's phenomenal. So, you know, and that has been, yes, a key turning point. That fight certainly was the spark. It was the catalyst that's driven this. But now, of course, it's a matter of just doing that again, and yeah, more boxers, and you know, you look at what's happening here. We've got just Cambosis, Opataya, Maloney brothers. You know, it's just
Joe Mitchell, it's just incredible.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of depth now. Dennis of course, Hogan has done a great thing this year.
How's he doing, Glenn? Dennis Hogan?
He's doing great, you know, and I think one of the things I said to him is after Rosario beat Williams, I said to him, take a lot out of that. You had some phenomenal sparring against Jason Rosario over there. He was his main sparring partner. Oh yeah, he was Dennis's main sparring partner. So that was great sparring from Dennis over there with Rosario. And I think it was great for both Dennis and Rosario. They both would have gained a lot out of that. I've got all the video of that. I watched that very carefully. Great sparring. So for Dennis, that's really given him a shot of steam. He's been very motivated by that. I think he's now saying, hey, you know, I know I can beat anyone in this light middleweight division. So he's going to have a great year.
Getting back to that, obviously fighting Jamal Charlo at 160 pounds, people don't realise, you know, I mean, certain zeros going into contracts and 3-fight deals and whatnot. That was a very courageous thing from yourself and Dennis. Well, not so much yourself, you weren't in the ring, but for Dennis Hogan to take on Jamal Charlo, very courageous.
Oh, hugely courageous. You know, I've got an incredible amount of respect for Jamal Charlo. I think he's the best middleweight in the division, not including Canelo Alvarez, who I'm not sure whether he's a middleweight, cruiserweight, heavy or super middle or what he is at the moment. But I think taking Canelo out of the equation, I do believe that Charlo is the best 160 in the world.
And you fought him, and you guys have fought him, so you know where
Dennis
the
was competitive.
He was
competitive in that fight. Got caught, but that's boxing. That's why we love it, you know. But yeah, got caught. As far as camps go, was it Dennis's best camp? Not by a long shot. So with a dodgy camp, just sicknesses, just injury. We had injury. Just one of those camps that was riddled with injuries and sickness. And sometimes camps go smoothly. Other times, just things come out of left field and derail you. But we followed through. He was very competitive in the fight and certainly showed that he's at that level. And dropping back a division, it's just going to be...
next fight will definitely, like Jeff, definitely be at 154.
100%, yeah.
Where would you fight next? Is that
I hope it's in the US. It's something we'll negotiate and we'll decide on. But I believe, I personally feel we should probably be back in the US fighting a world ranked guy in the 154s because I think Dennis is He's so close. We saw it with Mungoya. You know, we all know we won that fight. And we saw he was very competitive there with Jamal Charlo at middleweight. You know, he's there. You know, he doesn't need a lot of comeback fights. He just needs to get back on the horse very quickly, and good camp next time. And, you know, he beats whoever we put up against him in the 154s, and he's right in contention for another shot.
Fantastic. What did you think of Jamal Charlo and Ronnie Shields and that after the fight? It was good to see you in there mixing it up with him and talking for a while.
Yeah, great guys.
Respect.
Yeah,
Respect.
I got a lot of respect for Ronnie Shields and Jamal Charlo. You know, their whole team was good. You know, they're tough guys, but we expected to be tough. You know, no one asked for any favours at this level. And but after the fight, they were great guys. You know, I went into their dressing room there. They were all good people and had a nice chat. And I wish them all the best. And you know, boxing should be very tough in the fight, but after the fight, you know, we're all humans and we all got dreams. And you know, it's wasn't our night, but you know. We'll be back, have no doubt. We'll be back.
Yeah, you're on an aeroplane. You're going back over to Glenn Rushton's going back to America, obviously, in about 2.5 weeks. Dee Hobbs versus Mary McGee. Big fight.
Big fight.
Gary Indiana. How's everything going with that?
Good, going very well. Well, this is a tough gig for Dee. You know, she's had 9 fights up against someone who's had 29 fights. So over 3 times the experience. We're going over to fight them, you know, in their hometown. We're going from our blistering hot summer, as you know, to their freezing cold. I had a look yesterday, it was 8 degrees below in Chicago. Like
really?
It's going to be a huge shift in, we're going the other side of the world. We're going from the frying pan to the freezer. We're fighting a fighter with 3 times as much experience in the hometown. But all that being said, it's a fight. We'll be going there to win that fight, have no doubt whatsoever. Dee's very tough, very determined. Punches very hard, and we'll be going there to win, have no doubt.
What's Dee learned a lot since Greece? What has she done differently for this camp compared to her last camp?
Dee hasn't been here that long. It's only been about 6 months or so, but I'm trying to polish Dee. I'm trying to refine Dee. I'm trying to get her balance better. I'm trying to get her legs better. There's a lot of things I'm trying to refine, because to beat the girls at the top, the Katie Taylors and girls like this, you know, that are very slick, you've got to be efficient. You've got to be refined. You can't be cavalier. You can't be this swashbuckling, big punching sort of fighter. You've got to. So I've got to basically try to just turn Dee into the consummate professional in terms of everything. As you often hear me say, to be a champion, you've got to eat like one, think like one, train like one, sleep like one. You know, there's a lot of things to do if you want to be a world champion. So it's a process, and I'm working through that process with her day by day. This could come out of left field. It was at short notice. Yeah. I've got to do the best I can in the time I've got to get her as ready as I can for that fight.
She looks a lot fitter.
She is a lot fitter.
Is that something you guys have been working on here?
Absolutely. Oh yes. Yeah. Like, you know, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you know, we're flogging her, you know, and she's just soaking it up. It hurts. But, you know, it's what you've got to do if you want to be competitive at the top end of town. So, you know, that is something that we're working very hard, as well as, of course, trying to refine the technique. So there is a lot of work to be done, but whatever Dee does in this fight, she will just get better and better from here on in. And I'm hoping it'll be good enough when we get over there to get the job done. Massive challenge, but, you know, this is what we live and breathe for.
Do you think potentially one day, you know, Dee, you know, a big win if she beats Mary Red, a Katie Taylor fight could happen? Which would be absolutely, when we talk about women's boxing in Australia, obviously we've got some fans and we'll get to one in a second, but that would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it?
Brilliant, yeah. You know, Katie's a great boxer, and you know, it would be an honour to be fighting her, and I believe that Dee is the sort of girl that's that tough, she's that rugged. Yeah, she can beat anyone, you know, but you've got to harness that. So that's what I'm trying to do, is harness that potential. And but yeah, that'd be exciting, and that's the end game. That's what I'm working toward, is to turn her into that next level boxer.
Have you trained many women's boxers?
Not women's boxers. I've trained a lot of women's martial artists. Yeah, there's some phenomenal women's martial artists. We won the women's division and won a lot of trained some phenomenal women. Yes.
You had a chance when you're over there, obviously, to see Lewis Houghton, Lulu Bang Bang, Bang Bang Lulu. How do you find her, WBC interim world champion? What do you think of her?
She's a wonderful. She is a breath of fresh air. She's just lights up the room. She's got a beaming smile. She's so tenacious. She puts her heart and soul into every fight. You can't ask for any more from an athlete to just give it everything you've got. And that's one thing I think she brings it. She gives it everything she's got. I think she's wonderful for the sport. She speaks well. She boxes in an exciting manner. She puts a life on the line out there. She really brings it. I looked at her after that last. I looked at her after the last fight the next day. She definitely looked like she'd been in a fight. There's no doubt about it. And I was looking at Dennis and I was looking at Lulu and I'm going, hey, Dennis looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And you look like you've been in a fight, but she won and Dennis lost. But that's boxing. And but no, she is an absolute delight, and I think she's great for boxing, and women's sport in general is going through this massive resurgence, both in Australia and globally. And I think that's a trend that'll just keep continuing.
With Lulu, is there any chance of her in the future fighting down here? Well, I know you've got really good connections with Dean and that. What are the potentials of us seeing her fight down in Australia?
100%. Like, we're looking to put her potentially on the Hogan'S undercard. We're looking
really?
at that as a world title down here. She's from Perth, so if it does go in Perth, I think it's a no-brainer to get her on the card there in a world title defence. So I think that I'm certainly working with Elvis very closely on that, and hopefully we can pull that off. So that's something that we're certainly looking at.
And if she did fight down here, would it be? She's defending the world title.
Yeah.
Would it be hard to, from a matchmaker's point of view, to get her a fight, or?
Yeah, it is tough in those divisions.
Because she fights in America.
Yeah.
But obviously, to bring her down here with women's boxing, it's a good thing for women's boxing. But it's still, could it be hard to promote? Or
I don't think it'd be hard to promote. Yes, getting opponents sometimes is fairly tough. But hey, everyone always wants a world title, so it won't be that hard. We'll find an opponent, the right opponent, and someone who's worthy for that challenge. And I'm sure it'll be a highlight of the night. It'll be a great fight.
Just last but not least, any plans for you and your fighters this year to come back over to America, or?
100%. We love America. We love fighting over there. Obviously it's the home of boxing, and it's always a pleasure to go back there, whether it's New York or Vegas or LA or wherever it is. We're always keen. We're excited to get over there, and I don't have any doubt whatsoever that we'll probably see Dennis, and I think even Jeff could be over there later this year, hopefully fighting for a world title. If we get the right result against Tim Tszyu, then we'd be certainly looking for a world title shot, hopefully by the end of the year, and somewhere in the US most likely.
Awesome. All right, mate. Thanks for catching up, and let's get ready to kick off 2020.
Always a pleasure, Nick. Thanks again.